Poets, you know us. You don't fuck with poets. Because we will write about you. So I'm gonna read 2 poems about people that I wrote about. So that's why I always tell people, like, yeah, well, you can get to know me, and I will immortalize you either positively or the latter, or the other way. So I'm gonna open up with 2 poems immortalizing certain people. A letter to Gus, the judgmental CVS clerk. Dear Gus, I didn't need the extra look of judgment or the 5-page receipt when I bought my Plan B pill. Yes, I had sex. No, I didn't use a condom. Yes, I enjoyed it. And yes, Gus, I will do it again and again and again. I don't think male customers get the same discernment when they buy the industrial pack of Trojans, extra thin and lubricated for her pleasure. I am tired of my body being examined and decided upon by men who couldn't find a clitoris, even if Alexa, Siri, and Google joined forces in some GPS version of Voltron. So save your visual admonishments, for I am not your Latin Mary Magdalene, although I am sure I did shout God's name more than once. You will not side-eye me for fulfilling my sexual desires, expressing my sensuality, savoring the taste of a man's touch, satisfying my fantasies 1 orgasm at a time, loving my body under my own terms. Sincerely, an unapologetic woman. And the other poem, so I'm not very creative when I get angry. Edie's knows this already. So pardon me for the lack of creativity on the next title. A poem for the cunt on my couch. Like an interloper, you walked into my home without invitation. So I must ask, were my sofas soft enough, or did you feel their springs when you sat down, crossing your Nair-enhanced legs? Did you struggle choosing from wine glasses etched with the names of vineyards and memories you will never know? Did the bathrooms smell like the entrance to Bath & Body Works? Did the dishwasher have enough Cascade to remove your dollar store lipstick stains from them? Was my plasma TV big enough? The surround sound AMC quality as you giggled like a child watching a Disney movie? Were the wall decorations, my college diploma, first publication, paintings of Puerto Rican independistas, a character from my spring break in London, to your satisfaction? Quality control is important to me, on a scale of 0 to 10, with 0 being your return to a Brothers Grimm inspired abyss for the uninvited. How likely are you to come back? So as the bio says, I am from the Bronx, if you couldn't tell, proudly. So this one is a couple poems dedicated to the Bronx. It's called All Day, Every Day. The Bronx isn't a resume builder. You don't get a Scouts badge because you lived there today or 20 years ago. You don't come from the Bronx comes from you. And you don't survive the Bronx. It isn't trying to kill you so you can justify leaving it behind, abandoning it like one of the buildings from the 80s with painted flower pots on the windows, making them more aesthetically pleasing for the Jersey commuters as they crawl on the Cross Bronx Expressway, which is always under construction. The Bronx is more than switching your T's for D's when you say water. The accent isn't part of your audition for the next Spike Lee movie. The Bronx is more than dancing to hip-hop and bomba. It's Lisa Lisa and the Cult Jam and TKA in the community center basement at your cousin's Sweet 16. It's having enough spray cans and D batteries. The Bronx is the way your head tilts when someone says something suspicious. It is the amount of yo's and deadasses used in a story, because yo, I'm deadass when I tell you that shit happened like I said it did, but in the end, we good. The Bronx is the original Yankee Stadium and hating on the Mets in perpetuity. It is witnessing love triangles at the park unravel like a telenovela. The Bronx is the ineptitude of the 2 train and cursing Robert Moses when you surface. The Bronx is knowing bodega aisles like treasure maps. It is getting ready for a night out, searching for your favorite hoop earrings and Boricua red lipstick. It means rolling without hesitation when your comadre hits you up. The Bronx is sitting at a faculty meeting and asking the questions no one is willing to ask, because in the BX, there is no sugarcoating. This one is called, it's really straightforward, it's It's called the BX Love Letter. He welcomed her at innocence, surrounded her with dystopian landscapes filled with lullabies sung by fire engines, car horns, and police sirens. Made sure her Buster Brown shoes hopscotch safely from Tremont Avenue to Crotona Park, never falling between the concrete chasms left behind from salt poured on icy Januaries. Listening to his metropolitan lessons of trusting no one, following her instincts versus hackneyed island rhetoric, writing expresses poems from graffiti murals. Perhaps he made her too tough, as her body grew into her attitude, forming hermetically sealed domains, technicolor emotions wrapped in pink bows, like the arsenal of birthday gifts he gave her each year, such as strip someone naked in 2 languages, stare down urban Goliaths with brown eyes warmer than the sun she was born under. But one day she left him for another, one who recycled the recycled, ran strawberry signs with a sign, take a box, leave $5, God bless. Her intentions left him empty, concave, as he howled promises to tear down the Robert Moses statue, allow guavas to grow in her hair, become her muse once again. And I am from Puerto Rico, so I'm going to read 2 poems over Puerto Rico and then take off. Take off, like sit down, like, and then listen to Matt. Like, that's what I mean by take off. But anyway, so yes, being from Puerto Rico, there's certain things you must love. You must love Ricky Martin. And now you must love Bad Bunny. Like,
you must love Luivette Resto.
But I was a huge fan of Menudo when I was growing up.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is my ode to Menudo.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for the Menudo fans. Ode to Menudo. Not the slang term for money, the Spanish translation for often, or the traditional Mexican hangover cure soup dish. I was part of Menudo Mania. Wore my Our Heart Menudo t-shirt and side ponytail as I waited in line to watch their movie Una Aventura Llamada Menudo in a claustrophobic new city called the Bronx. The Puerto Rican Menudo, René, Johnny, Javier, Miguel, Enrique before Martin. The original Latin boy band, gracing record covers with feathered hair and curly mullets, skin-tight, blindly bright primary colored pleather pants, satin shirts with plunging necklines showing off a pictorial landscape of early pubescent chest hair stubble. I was home for 83 minutes, listening to my native tongue on the silver screen with its inflections, intonations, and sing-song melodies. 83 minutes of forgetting why I had to leave my classmates, cousins, and the sunrises off the mountain sign of Aguas Buenas. Sang along to A Volar, wishing I could hop on an air balloon ride back to the familiar. This poem I haven't read in a really long time. It's not in the collection. It's called Aftermath, and there's an epigraph there. A Harvard University study estimates 4,645 deaths resulting from Hurricane Maria. Harvard Law School graduate and independentista Pedro Albizu Campos' war cry, when tyranny is law, revolution is order, whispers over the dead bodies of our gente. Before the colonizers named it Puerto Rico, Taínos called it Borinquen, the land of the valiant Lord.
Ooh.
Valiant, showing courage and determination, our heritage, my heirloom. Borinquen and I, nosotros, Boricuas. In 1493, Columbus arrived on his second voyage of disease, conquest, and murder. 400 years of forced labor, slave trading, genocide. Spanish, the language of our first colonizer, prevailed. Then English took over. In 1898, we were passed on like property, rebranded in 1952 as a Commonwealth, another name for colony. The Jones Act made us citizens, making us draft possible soldiers without congressional representation. In 1948, Law 53 made the Puerto Rican flag illegal. It would be 10 years before it is repealed. So if you ever wonder why we adorn our cars, bodies, babies, fire escapes with the flag, why we dedicated a whole song to it, why we are so loud and punctuate our songs with Puerto Rico. Bueno, ya tú sabes. In 1978, Puerto Rico became my first home. In 82, the Bronx. I would return to the island almost every summer with my abuela, who needed to return home as much as she needed me to remember where I came from and who we are. Valiente. That was who they were. The 4,645 Puerto Ricanos whose bodies are debated against the 64 the federal government claims, and the 3.4 million American citizens ignored. You don't scare me, colonizer, with your paper towels, referendums, gag orders, rhetoric. Colonizer, it is in our music, bodies, literature, poesía. It is in this room. We are all valiant. Somos boricuas.
Yeah.